Let's bring in Dave Sears now. He's a retired Navy SEAL. Dave, what can you tell us about the choice of retaliation on the part of the Iranians? I mean, they could have done a cyber attack. They could have tried to target a domestic soft target. Instead, they went for something a little flashy, something that they could show on state TV, and something fairly aggressive. What does that tell you?
Well, I think for one, you're right that it is flashy so they can show it on state TV, but I would also caution that we don't know if it's done yet.
Right.
So I would still say that, Israel could be targeted by Hezbollah, those proxies that Iran has there. Saudi Arabia is certainly a right target for Iran as well, and you could see some things in Yemen or the Gulf. We don't know where they're going to go. We don't know if they're going to use any of their asymmetric capabilities yet or how that plays into it. So hopefully this is the only salvo that they have, or two salvos as we're seeing it, and that they want to make a very public statement to their people that we're getting revenge.
Right.
That's on their side.
And they're hoping, you assume, or we assume, that this is where it ends.
I think that that's what Iran's hoping.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a huge miscalculation. I just can't see the president, after his speech and drawing the red line at U.S. casualties or U.S. assets coming under targeting.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Do you think that it's one thing if there are some U.S. casualties here, but what if it turns out that there are not?
That'll be interesting on how he's going to deal with that. I still think, these are joint U.S.-Iraqi bases, so there's likely to be equipment, and I think that you are going to see, if I had to guess exactly sort of what the president called for, you're going to see a completely disproportionate response from our side. You can't have this, one-for-one type response. I think that what he's likely looking at giving them is a very overwhelming response.
What would that look like?
That would look like completely wiping out their ability to project power. That means ballistic missile targets, so they can't launch any more, naval targets, any possible nuclear targets that they're developing. It could be possible Quds Force locations outside of Iran that are their asymmetric things that are in Syria. We know their bases there. I think it could be a large array of all of the above. And
wouldn't that result,
especially if there's casualties,
wouldn't that result then in just more of a military commitment to the region than this administration really wants, has a stomach for?
I don't think if you actually have that overwhelming response, it completely eliminates Iran's ability to do anything.
Are you talking about sort of shock and awe?
We have that capability. Yeah, no, I mean, we could degrade their capability to the point that they have none. It's not, Iran isn't like the United States. It's not that big. It's not Russia or China. So you could conceivably target all their capability to do things if you really wanted to.
So, and that would be without a regime change, just leaving the government there and just wiping out their military.
Yeah, absolutely. And then saying, okay, leave it to the people. What do you want to do? And I think you would have another effect as well if you stick to military targets, especially as they are in Iran. You can really, really limit any civilian casualties on the populace. And remember, the people aren't super happy with the regime in Iran right now.
No, there have been a lot of protests,
There's a lot of protests. And so which way do they go on this? If they see, now one of the reasons that they have such a problem with the regime or doing anything about it is, for example, the last protests, I think there were reports of, up to 1,500 Iranian civilians killed, another 2,000 imprisoned. They can't do anything. But if you take out some of this infrastructure that is, Iran's domestic infrastructure as well, the people may see an opportunity to rise up. I don't know that would happen, but the opportunity may be there. Or Iran will have to rebuild so much that they just will not be able to project any power around the globe at all.